that they can at least agree to terms today. Of course, it would have a picture of Alec Pierce. But let's scroll down and see what was the most impactful today. What was the first? Number one. The 49ers add legend Mike Evans. A lot of people in the Tampa area and the fucking, I'm sorry, in the country never thought Mike Evans would leave Tampa Bay. They never, I never foreseen Mike Evans leaving Tampa Bay. That's something that's a very surprising thing. He spent 10, 11 seasons, 12, maybe 11. I know for a fact he had 11,000 yard seasons with Tampa Bay. Never seen this guy leaving Tampa Bay. Hey, he left his mark. But I can say one thing. The San Francisco 49ers got better today. March 9th, 2026. They got better. I mean, if you got a healthy George Kittle with Mike Evans and what's my man's name? Let me scroll down. The kid that got shot. What's his name? Ricky Pearsall. So if you got Ricky Pearsall, Mike Evans, and George Kittle, that's a legitimate offense if you add Brock Purdy with Christian McCaffrey. And you're trying to keep pace with a Los Angeles Rams team who's gotten better and is probably the most complete team in the NFL and a Super Bowl champion. And also a Cardinals team who just added, well, they got rid of Kyler Murray, but they added by subtraction, to be honest. And they got Mike LaFleur on that team under the Sean McVay tree. I feel like that's an addition by subtraction. So that signing right there is one of the most underrated signings. But at the same time, and I guess I'm saying underrated because of his age. But this, come on. You anytime you can add Mike Evans to your offense, you got a whole lot better. Alec Pierce re-signed with the Colts. It's a lot of people mad at that because it's a lot of contenders who would have loved to have Alec Pierce on our team, the Rams included. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of AFC teams, Baltimore, Cincinnati, who could have got put over the top with a player like Alex Pierce. But at the same time, now we're starting to look at the value of 1,000-yard receiver. What does it say? His new deal contains 84 million in guaranteed money. 84 million in guaranteed money for 1,000 yards. But he's one of the biggest deep threats in the entire NFL. He is. Get your money. Because a lot of teams wanted Alec Pierce. I'm not going to lie. And the fact that he re-signed with the Colts, that was the big signing for the Colts. Especially when their quarterback situation is what it is. Are they going to re-sign Daniel Jones? Who is their quarterback? But they do know they have a legitimate deep threat. And they re-signed him. Coach shipped Michael Pittman Jr. to the Steelers. Michael Pittman Jr., if you play fantasy football, is one of those possession receivers that you would love on your team. He is. So the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers let George Pickens walk, who probably last year was probably, I mean, just being honest, top 6, top 5 receiver last year, to bring Michael Pittman Jr. in to replace him, I don't want to say replace him particularly, but to try to at least bring in somebody of value that can at least make you not have that need as much as you looked last year. Because DK Metcalf, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible on DK. When the buddy started to beat up fans in the crowd, at some point you got to start looking elsewhere. He's a really good player, but if you let's think about this, if you let a player walk, since Seattle Seahawks let 2 players walk, let 3 players walk last year, DK Metcalf, Geno Smith, and the old head, they let him walk, and they won a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh decided to let somebody walk, and they end up being a top 5 receiver. I don't think that's good math. But to bring Michael Pittman Jr. over, I believe that is a franchise changing decision. That's a good trade. And then I believe they brought over Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle last year. Hey, if you can bring in Michael Pittman Jr. and Rico Dowdle, that's a good offseason. I don't care who you are. B plus. But if you add Rico Dowdle, that's now an A. I'm sorry. Colts trade C plus. I don't know. At a certain point last year, they were they were the number 1 team in the AFC. And I understand you got to make moves for the future. But when you re-sign Alec Pierce, I believe that's one of those moves that kind of solidified your future. But at the same time, you don't let a guy like that walk out of your building. Chiefs add Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. Let me say this. Okay, so we can look at Kenneth Walker 2 ways. We can look at him as a Super Bowl MVP. Why? Maybe because Sam Darnold was the quarterback. Usually, the quarterback is the one that is the MVP because he has control of the game. They couldn't stop Kenneth Walker, but that was only because they didn't trust Sam Darnold to take the game over. What did Cam Newton say? There's a game manager and there's a game changer. When you got a game manager, you get a ball to who you can get a ball to. And if you start getting those carries and they start looking beautiful, you give to Kenneth Walker. And there was no Zach Charbonnet. And it was always a running back by committee in Seattle. Because there was times, most of the times, where Kenneth Walker was hurt a lot. So they gave Zach Charbonnet a lot of carries. So how is the Kansas City Chiefs? Well, they have Isaiah Pacheco. How are they gonna divvy that up? That's a good problem to have. But at the same time, they lost a lot of their defensive players this offseason. So in the draft, I think they picked 9th, 29th, and they have a 2/3. They have a lot of picks to try to refill the holes on the defensive end, but they don't ever pay nobody. They don't pay corners. They didn't pay Tyreek Hill. They let people walk. And the fact that they signed Kenneth Walker is kind of ironic. But I believe that's a very good trade for Kansas City because you take a lot of pressure off Patrick Mahomes. Tyler Linderbaum, Raiders anchor, offensive. So I do believe the fact that the Raiders traded Max Crosby to the Ravens, and then they got Tyler Linderbaum in return. They took the lineman. It's like, all right, you took our pass rusher, but we're gonna take our best offensive lineman. That was chess and not checkers. I respect that. Cowboys replace Micah Parsons. Okay, if you just say replace Micah Parsons, it don't even make no sense because you can't do that. So basically, you're admitting that you made a mistake trading Micah Parsons in the first place. That was a personal decision to trade Micah Parsons. That proves it. Dallas Cowboys, you got to do better. And based specifically off that, I'm going to scroll straight past that. Because if you making business decisions based off personal feelings, I can't respect it. Dolphins, Jets, rare swap for Minka Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick is one of those guys that you just keep trading, like, and he's good. When can he find a home? I really thought he would have been a Pittsburgh Steeler, but he got traded to Miami for Jalen Ramsey, and now he got traded to the Jets. When you get traded to the Jets, your career is over, dog. You're a really good player, but it's over for you. I'm sorry, over for you, my boy. All right. Dolphins get their quarterback and land Malik Willis. Malik Willis probably had 30, 40 pass attempts last year. If you trust that over what Tua brought you, listen, sample size must mean nothing to you. It can't, because I felt like he did a good job replacing Jordan Love in the short time frame that he had to do it. But do I believe that that's enough to pay him? Hold on, let me see what their contract looked like. 3 years, 67. Okay, so basically what they're saying in Miami is we're not going to be good next year. We're going to pay him an amount of money that he'll be okay with enough to take so we can sell tickets and possibly tank for Arch Manning. I'm going to just read between the lines.